The corridor to the basement was colder than usual. Eli walked ahead, holding the key. Behind him came Daniel, Tandoro, and the healer. Each of them was quiet, but their silence carried different weights. Eli's heart was pounding, not from fear, but from shame. He had brought this woman into their home, into their walls, into his heart, and now she was chained beneath them. Daniel walked with long strides, breathing heavily. "You should have told me, Uncle," Daniel whispered, but his eyes were darting everywhere, eager. "A real vampire? I've only read about them in myths." Tandoro walked beside them, his face like stone. "This is not a story, Daniel. This is a threat to our people. Eli, keeping this secret was a foolish gamble." "I know," Eli said, his voice heavy. "I thought I could handle it." The healer brought up the rear, his medical bag in hand, more out of habit than need. "I still cannot believe what I saw." No pulse, no heartbeat. It defies all logic. They reached the door. Eli unlocked it. The hinges creaked as it opened, revealing the dim room below. It was quiet, still. And there she was. Nyoka'tu lay across the cushions, wrapped in shadows. Her skin looked too pale now, and her chest rose and fell so softly it was almost imperceptible. Her wrists were bound with enchanted chains that glowed faintly against her skin. You are watching the Tales of the Savannah. Subscribe and be part of the tribe. Now let's get back to the story. "She's asleep?" Daniel asked, leaning forward. "She only sleeps during the day," Eli replied. "How convenient," Tandoro muttered. They stepped inside. Eli stepped forward. "Wake her." The healer knelt, opened a tiny clay pot, and waved crushed garlic beneath her nose. Nyoka'tu flinched. Her nostrils twitched, then her eyes flew open. She sat up, breath sharp, startled. "Eli?" Then she saw the others. Her back tensed. She sat up, chains rattling softly. "What is this?" she said, looking from face to face. "An interrogation," Tandoro said. Nyoka'tu said nothing. Eli's voice was gentle. "We have questions. Then ask." Tandoro crossed his arms. "Start with the truth. Who are you?" "I am Nyoka'tu." "That hasn't changed." "Then what are your people?" Daniel asked. She hesitated. "My people are descendants of ancient bloodlines. We live underground, away from the sun because it burns you," Tandoro cut in. "Say it." She lowered her eyes. Daniel walked to the boarded-up window. "You mean, if I removed this board?" Nyoka'tu flinched. "Please don't." "Then answer this," Eli said. "How do we stop your people? If they come for us, how do we defend ourselves?" "There will be no need to defend. We come in peace." "Wrong answer," Daniel said, lifting the board slightly. Nyoka'tu screamed. "Silver! Yes, silver! It kills us!" The doctor looked unimpressed. "Lies! It weakens you. Doesn't kill you." The healer reached into his satchel and pulled out a silver dagger. The room fell still. "Does this bother you?" he asked, holding it close. Her skin began to sizzle just slightly. Tandoro smiled. "Please," Nyoka'tu whispered. "I don't want to die." "Then tell the truth," Eli said. "All of it." "Fire," she tried. "You can burn us." "Burn what?" Daniel asked. "Your clothes? Your bones? You're not even flammable." Eli stepped forward, his hand again on the window plank. "I will open this. I swear it," Nyoka'tu hissed. "Fine," a long pause. "If you must know, if you truly want to stop us, you kill the one who made us." "Aramon," Eli said. She nodded slowly. "He's the source, the root. Most of our people were turned by him. If he falls, they will weaken. Many will die. The bloodline will break." "Why didn't you tell us that first?" Eli asked. "Because I lived with them for over 1,000 years," she replied, voice breaking. "Because they are my people." A heavy silence followed. "We'll decide what happens next. For now, you stay here." "Do I have a choice, Eli?" Nyoka'tu asked. He did not answer. He turned to leave. The heavy dungeon door clicked shut, leaving the basement in silence. Nyoka'tu let out a breath, the sound of the men's retreating footsteps fading up the stone stairs, all except one. Daniel lingered, his shadow stretching long in the gloomy cell. He didn't speak at first, just watched her. Nyoka'tu looked up, wary. "Did you forget something?" "Yes. You," he said, his voice quieter now, more intense than it had been in front of the others. He took a step closer. "Can I see them?" She drew back, misinterpreting his meaning. She pulled her thin shawl tighter around her shoulders, a defensive gesture. "See what?" "I have nothing to show you." "No, not that," Daniel said, a slow, curious smile playing on his lips. He pointed a finger at his own mouth. "I mean, your fangs." Nyoka'tu stared at him. The anger, the threats from Eli and Tandoro, she understood those. This was something else entirely. This young man's eyes held a glittering, unhinged curiosity that was far more dangerous. "No," she said flatly, "absolutely not." "Why not?" he asked, genuinely puzzled, as if he'd asked to see a trinket and been refused. "Because I am not a circus attraction for a curious child," she snapped. Daniel's smile didn't falter. He walked over to the boarded window, running his hand along the wood. "The sun is still high. My uncle only loosened this one. I could pull it right off." A cold dread trickled down Nyoka'tu's spine. He wasn't bluffing like the others. He was stating a simple, fascinating possibility. She saw it now. She had spent weeks trying to seduce the stable, grieving Eli, when she should have been targeting this little psycho, the one who looked at a chained monster and saw a fascinating toy. The irony was bitter. A slow, calculating smile touched her lips. "You are a strange one, aren't you?" "I'm curious," he admitted, stepping away from the window and closer to her bars. "If you play nice, I'll bring you garlic soup tomorrow." The comment was so absurd she almost laughed. "I will bite you," she stated, her voice flat and serious. His eyes widened, the fascination deepening. "Really?" His voice had dropped, unsure, a little shaky. "Would you really?" "I can bite you now if you like," she purred, letting a hint of her true nature seep into her voice. It was a siren's call, low and hypnotic. She saw him lean in, mesmerized. He was actually considering it. He was wondering how much it would hurt, what it would feel like, the thrill of it. "Daniel!" Eli's sharp voice cracked through the basement air like a whip. Daniel jerked back as if burned, blinking rapidly. He looked from Nyoka'tu to his uncle, confused, as if waking from a dream. "What are you still doing here?" Eli demanded from the stairway, his tone full of suspicion. "Nothing," Daniel said, his voice a little too high. "I was just leaving." He cast one last look at Nyoka'tu before hurrying to the stairs. As he left, Nyoka'tu leaned back against the cold stone, a grim smile on her face. She had chosen the wrong snake. This one, the young one with the crazy eyes, he was the one with the venom. And she had a feeling that before this was over, she would get a chance to use hers on him. The great hall of the castle was full. From every corridor, every courtyard, the snake people had come. Eli stood before them, his hands clenched. He cleared his throat, looked around, and then he spoke. "There is something I must tell you. Something I should have told you sooner." The room stilled. "I have failed you." A murmur rippled through the hall. "There is a people, a hidden people, creatures that live beneath the land. They look like us, they speak like us, but they are not like us." He paused, letting the words settle. "They drink blood. They live off others. They are the reason people go missing. The whispers, the old stories, they are true." Gasps, confused looks, shocked whispers. "They are vampires," Eli said quietly. The word sat like a stone in the air. "And I..." His voice broke a little. "I welcomed one of them here. I invited her in." He lifted his head. "I was weak and I was wrong." Silence. "They are coming. Tonight, if you wish to leave, I will not stop you. You did not ask for this. This is my burden." He swallowed, his voice softened. "I did not protect you. Please forgive me." A long silence. Then, a single voice from the crowd. "I will fight with you, Eli." Then another. "I will fight with you." And another. "I will fight." Soon, the room was echoing with it, voices rising like a song. "With you, Eli. We are yours. You are our leader. To the death." Eli blinked hard. He nodded once, then looked away, but not before a tear traced the edge of his eye. "Thank you," he whispered. He raised his hand. "Prepare the garlic. Melt the silver. Sharpen the stakes. They will come by sundown." "But we," he lifted his voice, "we will be ready." The people cheered, loud, full of fire, and for the first time in days, Eli felt hope. The last sliver of sun vanished below the horizon, and a deep, unnatural quiet fell over the castle. There was a knock, soft, deliberate, like someone who already knew the door would open. Eli stepped forward slowly. The snake people behind him tensed. Tandoro stood at his shoulder. Daniel wasn't far. He unlocked the door, took a deep breath, and opened it. Outside, the night was still, too still. And there he was, Arammon, tall, smooth, dark as obsidian, a crisp crimson robe, not a crease in sight, eyes glowing faintly in the twilight. He smiled like a man who already knew how the story would end. "Good evening," Arammon said gently. His voice was warm, unnaturally so. "I hope I'm not intruding." Eli didn't answer. Not yet. Arammon smiled wider, teeth perfect. "I am looking for our Nyoka'tu," Arammon continued, his expression shifting to one of gentle worry. "She did not come home last night. She knows her curfew is before sunrise, but she never arrived. The last time she left our home, she said she was coming to see you, but she never made it back." Eli forced himself to hold the vampire's gaze. "Nyoka'tu is an adult. I am sure she will return when she wants to." Arammon let out a soft chuckle. It was disarming. "Indeed," Arammon said, his smile never slipping. "But a father worries. I have this inkling, you see, a feeling that wherever she is unwell." He took one elegant step forward. "Perhaps even being held." Against her will, Eli's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying I am keeping Nyoka'tu here?" "Against her will." Arammon placed a hand to his chest. The gesture was almost theatrical. "Oh, no, no. I would never suggest such a thing, Eli. I would never suggest such a thing of a host as gracious as you. I am merely concerned. You've always struck me as a man of honor." There it was. That strange pressure in the air, like the wind was holding its breath. And something else. Something just beyond the trees. Eyes. Dozens of them. Watching. Waiting. Eli glanced past Arammon. There was no one. And yet, the presence was undeniable. Arammon took another step. Not too close. Just enough. "Perhaps," he said softly, "we can speak inside." He gave a polite little shiver and pulled his robe tighter around him. "It's a bit chilly out tonight, don't you think? Let's not play games with our breath in the cold. Invite me in, Eli. Let's talk." Like old friends, his eyes glistened. The tone of his voice was soft, persuasive. His words were like a soft melody, washing over Eli. They sounded so reasonable, so kind. For a moment, Eli's fears felt silly. Is this a monster? He wondered. He seems so polite. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I should just... Then, "Eli," Tandoro whispered sharply, pulling him back. Daniel appeared too. "We need to speak." Privately, Eli blinked, as if waking from a spell. Arammon's smile remained. "By all means," he said, his voice still a gentle purr. "Take your time. Discuss." He paused, and his next words were layered with a sharp, ancient coldness. "But please, do not take all night. My patience, I fear, is as thin as the night air itself." Then he smiled again. Charming, elegant, unbothered. Tandoro slammed the door shut. Eli stepped back, breath shallow. "He almost had me," he said quietly. "I almost let him in." On the other side of the wood, Arammon did not flinch. His charming smile slowly faded, leaving a calm, ancient emptiness in its place. He tilted his head, listening to the frantic scuffling of the snake people preparing for a battle. A slow, genuine smile then touched his lips. It was not kind. It was the smile of a predator watching prey trap itself. He had all the time in the world. The night was young, and the dawn was a lifetime away. For him, patience was not a virtue. It was the sweet, slow-moving music to which he danced, and the dance had only just begun. The trees blurred past her. Pela moved like lightning through the forest, a streak of muscle and scales, her body slicing through the undergrowth as if the wind itself had possessed her. Vusi clung tightly to her back, arms wrapped around her slick skin, his head resting against her, eyes barely open. He was slipping. Every muscle in him ached. His mind spun, but he held on, because she was his mother, and somehow she had come for him. The forest thinned, and the river came into view. Snake Waters, the lifeline between the old village and Snake Island. The river shimmered in the moonlight, wide and fast, but Pela didn't slow. She plunged in. Water crashed around them as they cut through the current. By the time they reached the far shore, she was already shifting, the colossal snake body retreating as her human form returned. She staggered onto the soil of Snake Island, Vusi limp on the beach. Gasps erupted. The snake people rushed forward, faces pale, eyes wide. Then Asa stepped out. Her mouth opened, but no words came. She just stared, mother and son together. Out of all the faces she expected to see again, these were not them. Her throat tightened, but her voice came out steady. "Take him to the caves." Now, the snake people hesitated. Asa's tone left no room for questions. They lifted Vusi gently, reverently. He didn't speak. His eyes rolled back. But he was breathing. They carried him through the stone archways to the caves, the makeshift prisons once used to hold the dangerous, the broken, the lost. And now, him. As soon as the heavy door shut behind them, it began. Vusi screamed, not like a boy, not like a man, but like something caught between two worlds, torn, furious, unraveling. The sound shattered the stillness of Snake Island. Pela pressed her palm to the earth. She didn't cry, but her shoulders shook, because she had heard that scream before, not in sound, but in silence, in her own head, when she had lost everything. But now, she had done it. She had brought him home. He would live. The healers were already at work, circling him like a storm. Their hands glowed, their voices chanted. Her son would live. But as she lay there on the riverbank, a single tear slipped from the corner of her eye. She thought of Tendai. She thought of Sia. She prayed they were safe. She hoped, no, she needed, to believe that they had made it out unscathed, that their kindness in helping her would not come back to destroy them. The noise around her faded. She could feel hands now, gentle, cool hands of the snake people, lifting her, carrying her toward the healer's quarters. And that's when it hit her. The full weight of what she had lost. Her little cabin in the woods, her quiet life with Sia, their laughter, the slow mornings, the soft garden he had planted for her. Gone. All of it. She had made her choice. Snake Island had taken her back, but she had paid the price. That paradise, that dream of love and peace. It was now just a distant memory, and somewhere in the depths of her heart, something closed. Not in regret, but in acceptance. She had done what had to be done. She had saved her son. The compound was still buzzing. Hunters moved like restless shadows. Cabo barked new orders. No one had slept. They had failed. The snake that had slipped through their gates had made fools of them all. And Cabo was furious. Zoro, meanwhile, had just made it back to his quarters. His legs were tired, his eyes heavy. He collapsed onto the bed with a grunt. And then the door creaked open. Nala. She walked in slowly, her clothes damp, her steps quiet. Zoro blinked once, sat up. "Where were you last night? The whole compound was hunting. I needed you," he asked, voice low but alert. Nala shrugged, her movements heavy with a deep, otherworldly fatigue. I was handling something else. He finally looked at her, taking in her disheveled state. Handling what? Mamiwata, she said, the name dropping between them like a stone. I went to the river. I spoke to her. Zoro shot to his feet. You did what? Nala, have you lost your mind? What for? I fixed it, she said, her voice dangerously calm as she sat on the bed. It's over. You're free. She won't trouble you again. Fixed it? He echoed, his voice rising. What does that mean? What did you do? I made a trade, she said, meeting his furious gaze with a flat, defiant stare. You for me. The air left the room. Zoro stared at her, his face a mask of horror and something else, a fierce, possessive anger. You what? Who asked you to do that? I didn't want this. You didn't have to want it, she fired back, her own anger igniting. It was killing you. I saw it. I saved you. You didn't save me, he roared, stepping closer. You just tied a different noose. How is you belonging to her any better? How is that a solution? Oh, so you'd rather stay tied to her for life? Maybe I would have liked to choose how I dealt with it. The real, ugly truth was now on the table. He wasn't angry she'd gone. He was angry she'd severed his connection. So what was the alternative, Zoro? Nala's voice was cold, sharp. Let you keep visiting her. Let you dream your sweet dreams in her water while I watched you fade away? What did she do to you under the water that you miss it so much? He flinched. He couldn't say it. To verbalize the addictive pull, the transcendent pleasure, would be to betray himself and admit that a part of him didn't want to be saved. His eyes scanned her, looking for a mark, a change. A new, sickening thought occurred to him. Did she touch you? He asked, his voice dropping to a low, strained whisper. Nala let out a short, bitter laugh. What is that to you? Did she touch you, Nala? Don't be ridiculous, she snapped, turning away, but her evasion was an answer in itself. She did, didn't she? He pressed, a strange, twisted jealousy gripping him. So what? You just traded places. You lay with her so I wouldn't. And if I did? Nala whirled around, her eyes blazing. What of it? I did what I had to do to free my husband. If she touched me, so what? I saved. You didn't save me, he bellowed, the final shameful truth tearing out of him. I didn't want to be free of her. The silence that followed was deafening. He stood there, chest heaving, finally exposed. It hadn't been a burden. It had been a secret desire. Nala looked at him, and all the fight drained from her face, replaced by a profound, weary disgust. I see, she said, her voice quiet and final. Then, I have made a terrible mistake. Please forgive me, my husband, she said sarcastically. She turned her back to him, lay down on the bed, and closed her eyes, shutting him out completely. Zoro stood there, hollowed out by his own admission. He wanted to rage more, to explain, but the words were ashes. He finally lay down, his body rigid with frustration, the space between them in the bed feeling like a chasm. After a long time, he rolled over. He had to look at her, and in the dim light, he saw it, a faint, contented smile playing on Nala's sleeping lips. A cold knot tightened in his stomach. Oh, now he was the one on the outside. Now he was the one watching his partner dream of the deep. The freedom he'd secretly cherished was gone, and in its place was a gnawing fear. What had his wife become in that water? He sighed. He lay back down, frustrated, and maybe just a little jealous? Morning broke with screams, not the usual stirring of birds or quiet hooves. No, this was panic, loud, raw, mothers wailing, children coughing, warriors shouting. Something was wrong. The river, once red with blood, had seeped into the soil, and now it had awakened something terrible beneath. Frogs, snakes, insects, crawling from the ground like a curse being spat out from the earth itself. The water had gone deeper, poisoning the roots, calling the things that slept there. And now the fields were crawling. The crops were dying. The people were sick. The ground groaned beneath them. Thion stood high in his castle, watching the chaos spread through his kingdom. His heart broke at the sound of the people crying. He had waited too long. He had told himself it was coincidence, that Kalyan had brought joy, that Varashka had done nothing wrong, but now the land itself was screaming at him. There was no more time to pretend. The Great Council gathered once again, this time not in rage, but in surrender. They did not shout this time. They came with heavy hearts and weary eyes. This was no longer about power. This was about survival. He sat on the royal stone, quiet. Around him, silence. An elder named Marak stood. "The land is sick, Your Highness." "We are dying," another voice joined. "The fields are rotting. Our animals are poisoned. This is no longer about tradition or titles." Then the oldest among them, blind but wise, lifted his cane and struck it against the ground. "If the king will not listen," the old one rasped, "then we must call upon him." A gasp passed through the room. Barakan, the one who brokered the ancient covenant, the one who gave Kalyan's name before Kalyan was even born, the spirit of legacy and law. They formed a circle. They struck the drums. They called his name 3 times. "Barakan! Barakan! Barakan!" And the air shifted. The sky cracked open like it had been sliced. A beam of gold light filled the room. He appeared, regal and glowing, hooves made of obsidian stone, his chest marked with runes of the old gods. His eyes were like fire, but calm fire, ancient and watching. He did not speak to the elders. He walked past them to Thion.
"You are a king,"
Barakan said, voice like thunder.
"but you are not a god.
Thion's jaw tightened.
You have broken the order. You gave the sacrificial child to a mother's breast, not the altar. You have blurred love with duty, and now your people suffer."
Thion lowered his head.
"A true king protects his people, even if it breaks his heart. If you cannot do this..."
Barakan stepped closer.
"Then step down, Thion, for this throne is not yours to enjoy, it is yours to carry."
Thion bowed deeply. A single tear slipped down his cheek. "I understand." Barakan disappeared without another word. Later, Thion walked to Varashka's quarters in silence, his heart torn open. The woman he loved, the child he gave her. He stopped at her door. For a long time, he simply watched. She did not see him. She was smiling, laughing, cradling Kalyan as if the world was perfect. He smiled too, just for a moment. But duty knocked louder than love. He stepped forward. She saw him. Her face dropped. "What is it?" she asked. He said nothing. He reached out his arms. "No," she whispered, clutching Kalyan tighter. "Don't do this. Don't. I have to." She shook her head violently. "You gave him to me, and now I must give him to the people." He took the baby, slow and gentle. Varashka dropped to her knees, crying. Thion did not turn back. He couldn't. If he did, he would not have the strength to keep walking. He walked into the wind, with Kalyan in his arms, and the cries of the woman he loved behind him. The people saw him coming. They gasped, the baby, in the king's arms. He walked to the elders. The drums were silent. The people waited. Thion raised the child and said, "Raise him in the ways of the offering. Raise him strong. Raise him holy." A healer stepped forward to take the child. And with that, Thion turned away. He had lost a child, lost the trust of his people. But he had finally done what must be done. The gods were watching. The land, perhaps, would begin healing. Nandi sat in her home, restless. She had tried to read, tried to rest, but her mind refused to settle. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Nala's face, the way she flinched whenever Samuel lifted his hand to adjust his glasses or gesture mid-sentence. That small, sharp movement haunted her. Something's wrong, she thought. Something's not right. She had been meaning to visit, but things had been busy. Meetings, reports, and the baby. But today, she was going. No more waiting. She stood outside the door where Nala and Samuel now stayed together. It was supposed to be a victory, the union that ended the rebellion. Nala had convinced him to stop the fighting, and in return, they had built this understanding, this arrangement. Nandi knocked, once, twice. The door opened. Nala stood there, smiling too quickly. "Mother!" "You didn't say you were coming. I don't have to announce myself," Nandi said, forcing a smile. "Can I come in?" "Of course." Nandi stepped inside. The air felt strange, quiet, heavy. Nala moved nervously around the room, fidgeting with a cloth on the table. Nandi's eyes narrowed. "You're wearing sunglasses," she said. "Yes," Nala said quickly. "I was outside. The sun." "Take them off." "Mother, take them off." Nala froze. She knew that tone. She hesitated, then slowly removed the glasses. Nandi gasped. Her daughter's left eye was swollen, purple at the edge. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "What happened to you?" Nandi asked, voice trembling. "I walked into a door." The words hung in the air, hollow, rehearsed. Nandi's eyes hardened. "Walked into a door," she repeated softly. "You've gone your whole life without walking into doors, and now that you live with Samuel, suddenly the doors are fighting back." Nala said nothing. "Did he do this to you?" "No," she said quickly. "He didn't." "I swear he didn't." Nandi stepped closer, her voice low but dangerous. "Tell me the truth." Tears filled Nala's eyes. "Please don't tell Father or Uncle Diallo," she whispered. "They'll make it worse. They always takes things out of proportion. Nala." "Please, Mother." Her voice broke. "Please." Silence. Nandi's jaw tightened. Her chest rose and fell with controlled fury. "So he did this?" "We had a small argument," Nala said softly. "I made him angry. I shouldn't have made him angry, Mother. I need to try harder to be a better partner to him." Nandi blinked. Her throat went dry. "What?" I mess things up. I fold the towels wrong. I always leave my shoes by the door. I forget to label the food in the fridge. This was about folding towels." Nandi's voice was rising now. "It's not just that," Nala said quickly. It's a lot of things I do wrong. I'm trying to be better." Nandi was shaking now, her hands curled into fists at her side. This was not love. This was not partnership. This was control, manipulation, abuse. She held her daughter's face gently. "You're coming home. Now, Mother." No more discussion. And with that, Nandi grabbed her arm and led her out. Nandi knocked on the door. It creaked open. Diallo stood there, surprised but visibly pleased. "Nandi," he said, blinking, "I wasn't expecting you." She walked in without answering. Her steps were sharp, her jaw tight. "I need to speak to you," she said. "Of course. Sit." "No." "This won't take long." He closed the door behind her. Something in her eyes told him this wasn't just a casual visit. "It's Samuel," she said. Diallo's face changed. "What about him?" "He's hurting Nala." Diallo blinked. "Hurting?" She had a black eye. She said she walked into a door. Diallo was silent. His hands were already balling into fists. She said it was her fault. That she folds the towels wrong. That she angers him. Diallo turned away, his back to her, as he absorbed the words. When he turned back, his gaze was dark and settled on her. Nandi held his stare, the air crackling between them. "Are you asking me what I think you are asking me?" "Yes." "Are you willing to do it?" she whispered. "I am," he replied, his voice low and steady. "He's become reckless with the rebellion, and now he's hurting Nala. If we don't stop him now, he will destroy everything we've kept hidden." "You think he'll talk?" "I don't know. But I'm not willing to find out." Diallo sighed, his shoulders heavy. "Nandi, are we doing this the old way?" She nodded slowly. "As far as it takes." Diallo looked at her for a long moment. Then he walked to the cabinet and pulled out a leather pouch. "I'll arrange it," he said. "I'll call you when it's time." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Thank you, Diallo." I know we said we'd never do this again." He shrugged. "We said a lot of things. For family, Nandi. We go as far as we need to." "My dear Savanians, my family, my tribe, we are a people of strength. We have faced ancient vampires, defended our homes with venom and fire, and made impossible choices for the sake of our children, just as Pela did. Our strength is in our unity, our courage, and our unwavering respect for one another. But there is a poison more insidious than any vampire's bite, a threat that does not always knock on our door like Aramon, but instead hides behind it. It is the poison of gender-based violence. It is the hand that strikes a loved one. It is the voice that twists and belittles, making a strong person believe they are small. It is the control that disguises itself as love, telling a woman she folds the towels wrong or makes him angry. This is not strength. This is cowardice that preys on the vulnerable and betrays the very foundation of our community. Right now, our brothers and sisters in South Africa are preparing to shut down their nation. On the 21st of November, they will stand together and say #Enough is enough. We see the global solidarity. On social media, people are changing their profile pictures to a solid, solemn purple, the color of sacrifice, of justice, and of protest against femicide. It is a silent, digital cry that echoes the final, silenced screams of thousands of women. Every profile picture turned purple is a pledge. We see the violence against women, and we will fight it. Let us not wait for a national shutdown to force us to pay attention. Let us shut down the toxic ideas that lead to femicide. Let us shut down the silence that allows it to fester. Let us stand with South Africa. Let us honor every woman lost to this violence. Let us fight for the ones who are still with us. If you are a man who raises his hand, his voice, or his power against a woman, this is for you. You are not losing your temper. You are not teaching her a lesson. You are not the head of the house. You are an abuser. You are choosing violence. You are breaking a person you claim to love and hiding behind culture, stress, alcohol, and excuses. We see you. Your friends see you. Your children see you. The community sees you. There is nothing strong, masculine, or respectable about a man who needs fear to feel powerful. If you are as strong as you say you are, prove it by stopping. Get help. Walk away. Go to therapy. Ask for intervention. Do the hard work of unlearning the poison you carry. But understand this, your private violence is no longer private. It is no longer tolerated. We are naming it. We are calling it what it is. We are one. We are many, and we are stronger. Our women are not disposable. Enough is enough. Want to support the channel and become an even bigger part of our tribe? You can join for as little as the cost of a coffee each month. Your support helps me continue creating the content you love, but of course, just having you here is already more than enough. Thank you for being part of this journey. To those of you who have already joined the tribe, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are truly the heartbeat of this channel. And as always, thank you for watching our story, and we hope you enjoyed it. What lessons did you draw from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the tribe. Thank you for watching The Tales of the Savannah. We will see you next time in the Savannah.